Okay, this is predominantly a horse channel, and it's also a farm channel, but it's also a channel where we share our lives and, personal stuff about us. So this is a backstory a little bit, and it's educational, and it should be entertaining because I'm going to tell one of my Bigfoot encounters in it. So even though it's not horse content, stay tuned because this goes deep into who I am and what my past has been about, and even my relationship with Emery. On our third date, when I already suspected she would be the one, I told her, I said, I got something really special for us tonight. So dress up and I'll pick you up and I'm going to take you on a real special date. And I took her to pick out this coon dog right here. We showed up at a friend's house and he had a litter of Walker Coon hound pups, and we picked this one out. His name was Bomber, and he rode in between us on the seat of the truck for the first 3 months we were dating, everywhere we went. Then he got too big and he had to ride in the back. So I have been coon hunting since I was a little bitty kid, and it's a dying art, and it really is an art. I could take 100 people and teach 75% of them to be equestrians, but it would be rare that you could make one out of that 100 a true houndsman. Being a houndsman is so much deeper than people know, and you might not be interested in it because you're on this channel because you like horses and like the homestead, but just take a second to learn about what a houndsman is. And this is not a hunting video, even though we go coon hunting in it. Because we're not trying to kill anything. We're not gonna take a rifle or kill or shoot anything, and the dog's not gonna harm anything. This is just about the heritage of being a houndsman in America and the right. And this will come up on legislation. It comes up on legislation all the time, and you might have to vote about it. And this is a good place for you to look and see the other side of the story. This is Matt's little hunting rig. He's broken both of his legs, so he can't get around quite as well as he needs to without it. Don't get bored with this hunting video because we recount our Bigfoot experience we had together halfway through this adventure. How old's this dog, Matt?
He's big. 2 years old.
I'm going to show my Patreon channel what rednecks do for fun. This is called coon hunting. And it's not really hunting because we don't even have a gun with us. No animals will be harmed in the making of this video. So you get to a spot like this, you get your dog out, and you have to have it trained to be able to cast it in a certain direction. Casting meaning kind of like casting a fishing rod, right? You'll tell your dog to go in a certain direction and to hunt for raccoons only. The dog will leave on its own without being in, constant communication with you. Go out, decipher what you want it to do, find a track laid by the animal, strike in with a certain voice, trail with a certain voice telling you what's happening so you can determine what you need to do as the hunter. Then when it starts to think it's going to tree or the animal's going to take refuge, the dog will do a locate bark telling you that the trail is coming to an end. Then it will do a tree or a bay bark, meaning that you're supposed to go to it and fulfill your part of the partnership. So you got to think that this dog is out there coming across all kinds of obstacles, from creeks and rivers and roads and other wildlife, predators, prey, deer, and be able to filter out all those inputs and information, keep track of where you're at, keep in communication with you, but yet do its job. Some people can't even get their dog to stop peeing on the living room floor. So it's quite an art to get this to work. And it doesn't sound like much, maybe sitting on the couch, but it really is something. So this is where we casted the dog. So what has happened is the dog has went out on his own, found a coon, and it has climbed a tree And now we walk to the dog and look at the coon in the tree and tell him good boy. That's the way it's supposed to happen, so let's go see if that's what happens. This is what it looks like when a coon dog has treated its quarry, and you can hear the intensity in his voice that he knows that he's got what he's came for. You can see the coon in the Y of the branch. Once a dog is trained, there's no need to hurt the coon. You can just tell them good boy, and they will work their heart out for their owner. But I would be lying if I said you didn't ever have to, let the dog get its quarry to be able to train them. Now this is another track, and you can hear the difference in the dog's voice before he trees. We just cut him loose another time. You can hear the difference in his voice. That's him tracking a coon. You can hear how he's moving. He's working the track out with his nose, trying to figure out where the coon went. Now you hear the difference in tone. That's called a locate. Means he's starting to think that coon went up a tree instead of tracking. Hear how the voice is different? He changes his voice to communicate with us, his trainers, on what's happening. He's checking now to make sure his suspicions are right. It's kind of like checking your homework, because he don't want to get caught being wrong. A coon hound will learn to stay for hours to give time for the hunter to get to where he has treed the quarry. You got a squalor where it'll look at us?
Get on there. Good boy. Good boy.
Okay. All right, everybody. This is another one of my Bigfoot encounters. I had to take this opportunity to tell this story because I'm in the exact location that it happened. I'm with the same guy that it happened, and we've got the same rig that I can show you. So here's my side of the story as a Bigfoot believer. Then I'll let Matt make his amendments as a non-believer. He does not buy into the Bigfoot myth at all. We were standing right here, and this was a year ago, and his leg was broke, so he was on crutches. We were coon hunting. The dogs had been gone for a while, and we have GPS on them. They were over 900 yards that way, so way out of hearing. And you see that fence post that's right there? There used to be a USDA hog trap right here. So we're standing, and this is a good place. They baited those. The coons knew that, and that's why this is a good spot to turn dogs loose. They could run off that bait pile. And we're standing here listening, straining our ears to see if we can hear our dogs 900 yards away. And we start hearing footprints out there, footsteps, just right there. And we're listening, and we're like, what could that be? The only thing that walks real slow and like that at night around here is maybe an armadillo, a possum, or a skunk. But it sounded like footsteps, one after another, like 1, 2, 1, 2, soft, light footsteps. And it's this time of night. It was a little later than this, but tonight's kind of loud because you can hear raindrops falling. But that night was crystal clear, as calm and cold as a night as you can have. So on a colder night, the air's real crisp. It makes the noises travel even better. We can hear it. He's on crutches. So I walk out there to see what it is with my spotlight on our heads. And on my head, he stays here. I didn't see nothing. I come back to him. Then he says, while you were over there, I heard it walking over this way. So I get real quiet and I listen. This time I run in there as fast as I can. Still don't see nothing. Come back to him. He's like, man, that's weird. Well, just right then, at that time, we had left our car 100 yards back that way in the brush. And this is the rig, okay? Same exact rig. And, oh, I don't have my light on right now. But the first thing we heard, and he's put an insulative thing on this. At that time, it was metal, wasn't it?
No, this is the topper on it.
This is fiberglass. But first,
this wasn't on here.
Yeah,
we
that
heard was the dog box.
Yeah. Well, the first thing we heard was this, like a thud on the roof. And as a non-believer, you agree with that part. You heard a distinct thud on the roof, but it was metal at that time instead of plastic, so it made a metal sound. Then, if you look at this dog box right here, show this or shine your light on this. See how he has these latch with chains? We heard those chains wiggle, and then the doors open and shut. And we were, like I say, we were standing right here. The truck was back this way in the brush. There's no roads, about 100 yards. And needless to say, we were freaked out. Matt has a concealed carry permit and pulled out his weapon, and we went running to the truck to see, in his mind, who was messing with the truck. In my mind, I'm already thinking Bigfoot. When we get there, I want to stick around and look for evidence of Bigfoot. And Matt, you remember what you said to me?
Well, we kind of need to recap a little, because so what I remember, there was no JR running in the woods. Like, JR was tucked up behind me here. And after that point, it was only his teeth chattering and some whining.
Okay, yeah.
But then, we got out of Dodge.
Yeah, he said, no, there's going to be some tweaker, meaning a person on drugs, because it is bad in our area. Even coon hunting out in the middle of the night, you'll run across people walking on gravel roads too high out of their mind. And he's thinking there's going to be a tweaker there in the middle of the woods. Well, I don't believe on a dark night like this without a light, a tweaker could evade us with a light off a road. We're, how far? A quarter mile from a gravel road? And the gravel road is an abandoned Forest Service gravel road. So we leave, and the next day I get on my horse and ride back up here. And right here on this four-wheeler path coming into the spot, I found a dead snowshoe hare, and I got a picture of it I'll post right here. Sorry, I misspoke. I do have the photo, but I'm not going to post it on this channel. I don't want to show dead animals on the YouTube channel for fear of retaliation or demonetization or something like that. But when I went back up there, it was in perfect condition, and it was fresh. It was white, which the rabbits in this part of the country, this far south, do not turn white in the winter. We're miles from a house and a long ways from any civilization. So I don't think it was a domestic rabbit. Plus it had very small ears and big back feet. So snowshoe hares keep smaller ears so that they would have less heat loss. And domestic rabbits are, as far as I know, all have a little bit larger ears than wild rabbits anyway. So, it was in, like I say, it was in really good shape. My phone was dead when I came back with the horse, so I had to come back later to take the pictures once I found something, and the crows had got at it, so the picture is not very attractive, and that's why I'm not sharing it here. No other animal that I can think of could open those dog box doors, and we've heard them open. How many times have you opened those dog box doors in your life? 10,000?
Too many.
We know what it sounds like. We are not fooled. We've been doing this since we were little bitty kids, and I've only been scared out of the woods once or twice. So
that night made the third.
Yeah, that night made the third. A non-believer was scared out of the woods, and a believer was scared out of the woods. So it was Bigfoot. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting story. I don't know what you think about that. Just little clarification. When there was just the footsteps and the 2 times I went in the woods, I was not afraid at all. I was really kind of thinking it might be a wild boar because of the trap, and I'm not afraid of wild boars. I've dealt with them a lot. Once I heard the slap on the roof and the dog box doors open, then I knew it was either, like Matt said, a druggie out in the woods or a Bigfoot in my mind, and I was terrified. So that's what Matt was referring to. He thought I was telling the story, making myself sound like a big brave guy. No, I was scared to death, and he had the gun, so I was hiding behind him when we came into the truck. But I did want to look for clues. So I don't know. You guys can tell me. And people are so condescending. They're like, well, it was probably the wind. I'm a 40-year-old man that has spent my whole life in the woods. Do you not think I have dealt with wind? Or other people say, well, it was probably a bat flew into the hood of the truck, and that's what you heard. Okay. And then the bat decided to get opposable thumbs and open the latches to the doors and close them. Okay. Guys, I don't have an explanation for what it was, but please don't be ridiculous in the comments about what you think it was. It's almost insulting to my intelligence to say it was the wind. But I don't know. If you like that Bigfoot story, I've got about 12 more anecdotal things that have happened over the years. 2 weeks from that date, a second snowshoe hare got gifted on a horse riding trail. I went down the trail, came back, another dead snowshoe hare there. Weird. A couple weeks after that, a crappie. And the crappie wasn't quite still alive, but it was like right on the verge of being alive, or alive-ish. And it was about 3 miles from the river, right in the middle of a horse riding trail again that I was coming up. So some weird gifting, noises, different animal attacks and dead animals, tree structures, couple different encounters by different people that came to me because they knew I had encounters. So a lot of weird stuff. Thanks for watching the story. Thanks for watching about the hound hunting. I hope you learned a little bit and look at it in a little bit different sight. And you might not be so quick to go along with any petitions that would take away the rights of hunters that you may not have understood fully before. Thank you and God bless.